Maria, thank you so much for joining us today. I really do appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Thank you.
And I want to just start us off by learning a little bit more about who Maria is. What's your background and how did you get started in this industry?
My background is primarily in fitness. I've been a business owner for 16 years, and I've owned startup businesses as well as a license, as well as franchises. So a pretty broad range here. And how I got into this business or that business was wanting to help people, change lives, you know, and make an impact. And it evolved into being a business owner and franchise owner and now franchise broker.
Wow, that's really interesting. So usually people will have like one experience or another, but not usually do you see them be in all three of those categories. And so starting something from scratch, I personally believe that is really hard. You know, that is like an epic difference in the level of commitment that you need and how the level of time it takes and money it takes to get it to where it needs to be. I often say that it's like 1,000 times harder than doing a franchise. Do you agree?
100%. And that is why, you know, when I had that, you know, that particular startup, I always said, if I'm ever going to do this again, it's going to be a franchise.
Yeah. It's
I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm not,
Right. Yeah, because it's almost like traumatizing in a way because you have to put so much heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you go the franchise route, then you're doing a portion of that, not everything. And that everything paradigm is one where you're kind of trading your life for the business as opposed to with a franchise where you're kind of doing the opposite. You're gaining life with the franchise. So the license is kind of an in-between between the franchise and starting something from scratch. And then now the franchise. So tell me about, you know, your experience with the franchise, and was it different in how much you had to put into it in order for it to be successful?
Very different. I mean, all three steps that you're talking about were very different. And being in a franchise system, it was great because I could focus on doing what I love to do and scaling the business and growing with that business. But I didn't feel like I had to wear every single hat.
Right.
You know, the marketing and the graphics and the, you know, all of those innovative things and things that I really wasn't good at personally. So, you know, so knowing that I had that part of it as well was very important. And then, you know, just having that, you can get really in your own little world, I think, as a business owner, and you don't know what's happening going on around you, like how things are changing and evolving, and you know, you kind of lean on the franchisor to do those things and to change and innovate, and it was very, you know, powerful to be in that aspect of it, and to know that you're in that lane. You know,
and it like takes all of that work, and it takes those components, and the franchise system now manages them. So you were able to be freed up and do the things that were important to your business and the things that actually helped you to thrive. So what were some of the roles that you did as a franchise owner and some of the hats that you wore there?
Oh, as a franchise owner, you know, I was an owner operator. So, you know, you do a lot, you know, you do hiring staff, training staff. The great thing about, again, a franchisor is they do help you with some of the processes of that. And also you can send your staff to training, and those types of things are wonderful. But you still have to do that. It doesn't mean that you're not responsible for those things. And they have to still, be a fit for you. You have to do the, admin part, the sales part. You have to do all those pieces. You're still running your business. You're still making connections with people and building a clientele, and whatever industry you're in. I mean, you still have all of those roles to play. Right. So yeah, it's a big responsibility, but it helps to know that you have a team.
Yes. So I know you owned not just one location, but multiple locations. 4. Yeah, so you were able to really scale it up and build additional locations. And usually when we see that, an owner who buys multiples, it's because they're succeeding with one. And so they use the success of that to build the next, and to build the next, and to build the next. So can you just talk about what that experience was like, having owned multiple and having that mindset of really building for, scale?
Yeah, I was successful with it. I was a top franchisee. Yes, for not just 1 year, but 4 years in a row.
Wow.
So yeah, and this was in an emerging brand, and that became, a 500 plus, units.
Wow.
So yeah, and so to start out and to be able to scale, and I did that within a year of each location was within a year, and it came with its challenges, because you have one location that is maybe doing better than another, and and you're spreading yourself thin, but again, it goes back to, support from franchisors, and the brand was growing. So therefore, less advertising that I was having to do, things like that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that whole process was challenging but rewarding, and I honestly don't know that I personally would have ever been able to do that without being a franchisee.
Wow.
I don't know that I could have done that, to be honest
wonderful.
with you. Yeah.
It really does speak to the value of franchising. So what was your favorite part of being a business owner?
I am a innovator and, go-getter, and I loved that part of it, and it was very rewarding. Yeah. And building the relationships. And in my industry, I can, only speak to the fact that what I did in the beginning was, and the reason I got into it was because I wanted to help people. And so as a business owner, I really felt the impact that not only that I was being able to create myself, but then training my staff. And now they're making an impact. So it went, it just layered. It went a lot deeper. And I think that, was translated. And, I, just being a business owner gave me the ability, to do that. And see that.
It seems like then you're living your days, even though there's a lot going on and you've got a lot that you're in charge of, but it seems like you would have a deeper sense of purpose about what you were doing day to day.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like that is real, or is that a reality for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And being able to, it's funny, we talk about scaling in business, but it's also about scaling and being able to open up those doors and windows, for your staff and for other people to do that. So you're almost scaling your intention, like you're wanting to do something good, and I feel like that was super rewarding, to teach people and to see the change. And so that was a huge piece of it too. So yes, hopefully that answered your question.
I love that. That's hopefully so cool. Yes, it definitely did. Okay. So let's talk about franchising and the franchises. So clearly you're an advocate for franchising. You believe in franchising. You're a success story of franchising. Right. But let's talk about the difference between franchises who are what we call good franchises. Right. We focus on making sure that we are representing and finding good franchises, not just any franchise, but a good franchise for the clients that we work with. And I know that this is important to you, but I'd like to hear from you why. Why is that so important to you?
Oh, well, being a franchise owner, it's extremely important to me. And one of the reasons that I align myself with FBA. And I feel like, you're giving your piece of your life.
Yeah.
Your finances, your time, you're away from your family. I mean, and, you want to know that it's a good franchise and that they care about you and that they're going to grow and that they have integrity and they have the same values that you have. So, it's extremely important and I should not be overlooked.
Right.
At all.
Yes. That's why we're here.
Yes.
Yes. It is about doing the right thing and this isn't a type of transaction that you can be careless with. No. It's someone's life savings, their investment, and it's what they're going to do day in and day out. So we need to make sure that we're doing it in a way that is really supporting that franchisee.
Right.
So, good.
Totally agree with that.
Yay. Yeah, I think one of the things that, really stood out to me about you was how passionate you were about making sure that we had a grading system on those franchises and something that you could share with your clients. And the comment that you made to me, which was so powerful, was if I was in their shoes, I would want to know. And that is the truth of it. Right. It's like you have the ability to put yourself in their shoes. And I don't think everybody does that in this space, is say, if it was my money, would I buy it?
Right.
So can you just speak to that for a moment?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's very difficult when you're looking for a franchise and you just assume they're all good.
Yeah.
Because they're growing. Or because maybe there was a franchisee or a friend that you knew that enjoyed that concept or being a franchise owner. But in reality, you don't always know the behind the scenes or maybe what's going on. And so to be able to be in a position to have the tools and the knowledge to, know the insides, and I hate to say this, might sound graphic, but the guts of the guts of a company and the franchise. I think it's super important and such a huge value that we bring as franchise brokers to clients. And that it's high. It's very high on the list. If I'm not being passionate enough about it, it is very high on the list for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would say that is actually one of the biggest misconceptions that we have to deal with, which is that people think that just because it's a franchise, that it is a good franchise.
Right.
But I can tell you from personal experience, from, going through the process of, working with lots and lots and lots and lots of clients, that there are franchises out there that are not great investments.
Right.
And that you do have to be careful about the one that you're selecting, because it can have a big impact.
Yes.
So, okay, well, as far as what you would want to communicate to someone who's looking at buying a franchise, what would you want to tell them or say to them?
Well, it has to be a good fit.
Yeah.
I was a validator for my franchise because I was a top franchisee.
Right.
And so I've had many calls with people, and I would say to them, just because you have the money doesn't mean that this is the right franchise for you. So be sure that it is the right franchise fit for you. I think that's key. And also, just can you see yourself doing this?
Right.
Can you see yourself doing this day in and day out?
Right.
Are you still going to love it if you're in there having to clean the toilet?
Yeah.
Are you still, is it passionate? Is this a passionate, space for you? Is this what you really, really want? And do you have a great support system? These are great questions to ask, and make sure that they have people that are on board, because it takes that. Had I not had a wonderful husband that supported me in so many ways, I would not have been as successful and, been able to do this. So I think that's a huge piece of it as well.
Aww,
and there's
family. Bring
I
in
know,
the family.
I know. And there's so many other things. And I know that this wouldn't give us enough time to go through all those things. But I think those are some real high points that would be that I would want to make sure that I'm discussing with a client to make sure that they're prepared for what's getting ready to come. Right. Not only in the process of finding a franchise, but then after.
Right, exactly. So, because it is about the long term. It's not about just going through the sales process and then leaving them. Right. It's about staying with them through and seeing it all the way through and building that relationship long term.
Right.
So, Maria, why would you recommend FBA above another option for someone who's looking at becoming a franchise broker?
Well, that is an easy question. And I did my due diligence and looked at several, options and organizations, and it kept coming back to FBA. And the reason, you don't know why, I don't think, until you start getting to the end of that process. But I think it just kept speaking very clear to me that the integrity was here, and the grading, the importance of finding a good franchise for people. It wasn't simply about just throwing things out there to see what sticks. It was truly, a process. And you guys took the time with me personally through this process too, because this was a life decision for me. Right. To change and a career, go down this path. And I felt very informed and clear about your vision. Clear about your vision. Yeah. Yay. And just the excellence that you brought, not only in that part of it, but then going through the training that we've been through has been amazing. And FBA does a wonderful job. And, so yay! Applause to you. Y'all do a great job, and so I appreciate it, and I'm extremely excited to be a part of this association.
It's going to be a great journey together.
Yes,
you're going to be wonderful too.
Good.
Thank you so much for trusting us.
Thank you.